Tēnā koutou katoa. It's wonderful to be here this afternoon. And as Lyle correctly said, we launched the Land Use Recovery Plan this morning. And we're on a journey. And what I am so grateful for the opportunity is being able to spend a little bit of time with you today, telling you about that journey and inviting you to come with us on that journey. So what is the Land Use Recovery Plan and who's involved in it? And I've really valued being the last speaker in this lineup because I've learned a lot from the speakers who've gone before me, and I'd love to weave some of what they've talked about into what I'm presenting to you today. So basically, Environment Canterbury, as you probably all know, is the regional council, and we were asked by the Minister for Earthquake Recovery to work in partnership with the Selwyn District Council, Christchurch District Council, City Council, Waimakariri District Council, Te Runanga o Ngātahu, and also the New Zealand Transport Agency to pull together a land use recovery plan for Greater Christchurch. And Sarah is actively involved, and I know Sarah was here a little bit earlier on. Oh, yes, and there's some more Sarah people down the bottom end of the room. It's a multiple partner approach. It's not just us sitting in our well, actually now 10 buildings that we're in, sitting in our buildings, designing this on our own. This is about us working in partnership with people out in the community to design Christchurch from a land use planning point of view. So what we've been talking about in this forum so far is actually the look and feel of the city and designing for the future. This is about planning for the future. Where is what type of land use going to be placed in the environment that we have, that is Greater Christchurch. The Minister, as our Minister is very specific about what he asks you to do. You are not left in any doubt as to what his expectations are. And he told us to make sure that we did certain things in this land use recovery plan. Most importantly, he said, provide certainty for people in Christchurch, whether they be homeowners, businesses, investors, developers, whatever they be, provide certainty for them in order that they can have the confidence to make decisions so the city can recover. And he said in order to do that, he wanted a land use plan that told us for the next 10 to 15 years with great certainty what the land use landscape would look like. And I use the landscape in a planning term, not in the term that's been used previously. 10 to 15 years, not 35, 40 years, 10 to 15 years. This is what we need to do. We need to nail it, but we need to be mindful of what's ahead of us in the future long term as well. It's not a city for wealthy people only, it's a city for a mix of people. So we need to look at how we can provide for social and affordable housing in the fabric of our city. And I'm so excited, Nicole, about some of the pictures that you showed, because that is just so much our passion for creating an environment where those kinds of designs fit very much as part of the fabric of our city. So I think we've got a lot to celebrate today. What he also said is he said, don't just go and look at greenfields, you know, where there are no houses currently and build a whole lot of new houses out there. Tell us how you're going to make the city work. How are you going to make basically the bits that have fallen down outside of the 4 avenues, because this is what this plan relates to. It doesn't redo what the blueprint does. It works outside the 4 avenues. How are you going to make that vibrant, livable, and how are you going to get people to come back and invest and live in those spaces? And he talked about revitalising key centres outside of the CBD, where businesses will be attracted to relocate. All of these things are things that are exercising our mind, because the Minister has given us a very short period in which to deliver the plan to him. So the work that's been done so far, we had a huge range of stakeholder meetings and consultation at the end of last year with a range of people. And they told us what they thought the issues were for Christchurch to resolve in order to recover from a land use perspective. And we went away and we scratched our heads, and we think we've got some good ideas for a lot of the issues, but there's some issues that we're not quite sure that we actually have the right answers to. So you'll be hearing me talk about consultation, which started today, and we really need your feedback, and that's why I'm so appreciative of this opportunity to talk to you today. So far, where we're at is the plan. This is what the plan will provide for us. It will make sure that there is enough land use for houses to be built to provide for the future growth of Christchurch. There is no point us denying the fact that people like choice of where they want to live. Some people choose to live on the periphery or in Waimakariri or in Selwyn District Councils. For some people, that is not a lifestyle choice that they wish. We have to make sure that this plan provides for a mix of what we call greenfield development, but also for a mix of medium intensity development inside the city where people have opportunities to live in perhaps two-story townhouses, exciting container city villages, whatever you want to call them, those types of spaces. We have to address both. Greenfields is easy. Okay, all the developers, and I don't know if there's developers in the room, but if you are, you all know how to do greenfields. Okay, and in this, from a planning sense, you've nailed the greenfields. Not many know how to do brownfields. There's not many developers working in the space of regenerating where there were buildings before and creating new beautiful spaces. Partly because the market doesn't know quite how to respond to that, but also because we believe that there are some barriers to that development being easy to do. And this plan is about removing some of those barriers. So this is about actually councils looking at themselves and going, what in our planning framework is not enabling? I heard what you talked about in terms of doing good creative urban design. Sometimes there's so much red tape it drives you nuts. This is about going, some of that red tape is important in order to make sure that we build a city for the future that is sustainable for the future. But some of that red tape we can rethink, and we can be more enabling in how we do that. And some of our consenting processes perhaps could be slightly more enabling. And to be fair to my fellow councils, many of them have done a lot of work in this space, but we acknowledge that there's some more work that we can and that we will be doing. But there's a partnership involved, and we need the business developers, we need the investors to work in partnership with us. And there's some things that they need to be doing as well that I think will make a big difference. So this plan is quite bold and contentious in some spaces, in that it talks about encouraging developers not to land bank. So, you know, if, for example, you want to build a development and you want to trickle feed 50 a year for the next 15 years, the housing demand for Christchurch is now. We need 32,000 houses built in the next 2 to 3 years. There will be enough land. We need the developers to help us get that to market. This plan has a suggestion on how to do that, and I would be very interested in your feedback on whether we've got that right. Equally, the councils need to enable developers to do something bold and creative. So instead of going, the rules say in Living 3 and 4 that you have to have this big, this high, this shape, this whatever, if somebody comes along and goes, I've got a great idea, I know how we can do something magic here, but I need you to help me bend the rules a wee bit, that's what the councils are looking at doing. So if you come along and go, I've got a chunk of land, I want to make something special out of this, but please don't put me in a box and make it like everything else in the city. Have we got an opportunity for you in the land use recovery plan? So there are a number of facets to this plan that I think need a partnership from both the councils to be enabling, to be willing to let go a little bit and to let some of the innovative work happen in the city, but equally a partnership with the community who knows what they want their city to look like. Believe me, they know. You've seen some fantastic examples of what the city could look like. And provide diversity. Let's not make ourselves a corridor city where everybody lives out in greenfield areas, out in the rural areas, but equally, let's make sure that we don't leave a big hole in the middle of the city with ugly buildings and brown spaces that are not creatively designed and don't lend themselves to people living, working and playing with their feet instead of having to drive wherever it is that they need to go. So this plan has a mix of tools in it. Traditionally, you would expect councils to go, oh yes, the Resource Management Act, you know, we've got all the regulation under the sun to make this kind of thing happen. That is not enough. We've been doing that and it's not enough. It's not going to work in post-earthquake Christchurch. We need other tools in our tool basket. We need people who are prepared to do catalyst projects, to put their hand up, work with the council or work with government and go, we can do a development. Housing New Zealand has done this. They've put their hand up and they've said, we have got 6,000 social and affordable housing units that we can do something special with. Let's work together to do something unusual, something that doesn't create horrible ghettos of housing, but housing that people are proud to live in and that will see us through into the future. But that requires bold, I think, bold creative thinking. And also from a council perspective, take a piece of land that the council owns and basically build something on it that is a good example. The Breathe project is being done inside the 4 avenues. What we need is an equivalent of the Breathe project outside the 4 avenues, on the fringes just of the 4 avenues, that shows how medium density mixed land use can work together and can be done really, really well. So some incentives and some sticks. And I think there's a mix in this plan, and we look forward to hearing what people say, whether they do or don't like some of the incentives and some of the sticks. But it's not all about the land use recovery plan. There are a lot of other tools in Sarah's tool basket, the recovery tool basket, from a planning perspective, that might be better suited to deal with some of the issues. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are not in scope, and you may laugh, but I cannot tell you how many times, and I heard you had an interesting discussion on insurance in the previous session. This plan's not about insurance, okay? So we're not doing insurance, and it's not the appropriate forum for the discussion about insurance, and nor is it going to rediscuss the TC3 land classifications, nor is it going to tell Hekia Parata what to do with her education plan in terms of her schooling. It can inform all those conversations. It can inform how the central city unravels and the connectedness between them, and it can inform the red zone, but it is not about planning for those particular things. It is really important that it supports the work that is being done in the health sector, in the culture, the recreation, the sports sector, and that it provides an integrated opportunity for those people to work with us. Where do those facilities need to be? What size do they need to be? How much land do they need? And working in tandem with our partners to work that out. So in the 1 minute left that I have, basically what my call is to you today, please don't sit there and then in 6 months' time go, oh, for goodness sake, what were those people doing when they designed this land use recovery plan? They had no idea. Well, you may think we don't, and that's fine. Come and tell us what your ideas are. There is a website which is listed at the bottom of this, and Lyle has said that the website will be linked through on the SmartNet website for this conference. If you want to get involved, we are having stakeholder workshops, we're having community days. I am very happy to do one-on-one presentations to literally anyone who would invite us along to talk about your ideas on how you think Christchurch, from a land use recovery point of view, can become the best place in the world to live. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate that.